pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Richard Primrose.
Here.
Ms. Teresa Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Tom Sidley.
Here.
Mr. Jimmy Sandoval.
Here.
And Mr. Ross is not here.
All right. First is approval of the agenda. Has everybody looked at the agenda? Is there any additions or deletions? Not all stand for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell.
Yes.
Mr. Primrose.
Yes.
And Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Right. Next is approval of the minutes for a regular board meeting, August the 20th. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Is there any additions or deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sidwell.
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
Mr. Primrose.
Yes.
And Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
And the motion carried.
Next is research and public service projects. Mr. Moss? Or
So, well, I'll start and then turn it over to Mr. McVeigh and Mr. Kaiser. So, obviously, the three main projects that we're submitting for, in addition to the wind and the rodeo that we're asking for reoccurring funding, we want funding for the nursing program, which we don't have at this point. And right now, this year's budget is probably in the $500,000 to $550,000 range. And so we're in a sense operating that, without any supplemental support, which to my knowledge, every other college in the state gets. So my hope is we'll get some RPSP funding for that. And then we're also going to apply for a supplemental appropriation for this year. And my understanding is those are very hard to get, but I think the justification, for the RPSP, that we're on our fourth cohort, getting ready to graduate that one, that'll be a good thing. The others are truck driving and wind increasing. And so Mr. Primrose and I visited a little earlier in the week about some things he saw, and I talked to Josh, and Josh had already identified some of those. So what Josh would I think like to do is kind of maybe use this as a little bit of a work session and talk through some of these things and maybe help him fill out some of the body of these. So
the big goal I'd like to accomplish is first the numbers. And maybe explain a little bit to those that don't understand. So our first at the top there is the rodeo recurring funds. So several years ago, we were granted that $212,000, $212,900. So that goes towards our rodeo program, and that's recurring. So every year they continue to give that to us to utilize for our rodeo, and so we can have a home rodeo. Then you have the wind recurring funds that are there as well. Those are for $116,200. So that's to help with turbine maintenance, and that's again recurring funds to help us maintain the turbine to continue to have it in working order. Now the three after that are the three that we're looking for, again, as Dr. Moss stated, more additional funding. And there, if you're looking on the cover page, it says the nurse expansion funds. So that number is going to be adjusted. And if you would look in your worksheet, down at the bottom there are some tabs. And if you could go ahead and tab over to the nursing budget. So you'll see the nursing budget, and the importance here is just to look at, I wanna highlight, and what I gave you, at the bottom, you'll see where it's highlighted I believe I highlighted what we're removing. So I'm proposing to remove classroom supplies, the work study, money, and the support staff salaries. If we reduce those numbers, that'll take us to 550,620. So I just wanted to communicate, what we took off there, and again, we want to come with a number that is realistic. Now, on the top, if you look back over the top, you'll see under beginning fund balance in that section, if you go down to endowment, Jade, if you go over to the left and scroll up, there you go, and go up to that box up top there, to the left. I need a laser pointer. Go down a little bit, and endowment is down there in that bottom section, fourth one down. So that, with the endowment that we currently receive 80,000. Is that right, Dr. Moss?
Approximately, it's on 2 million and it just depends on the interest rate, but I'm guessing about 4% is what we earn on that.
So we earn 80,000, right? So we're going to put 80,000 there. And again, I don't have it on your document, but I want you to, add that on there. So what that does is it takes away from what we're asking. So our total that we're asking for is the 550,620. So on the top box, I'm going to put 550,620. And then what it does is it subtracts, let's see, well, no, it shows that the 80,000 is there, but it's gonna highlight the 80,000 because we have funding from the endowment, which is the 80,000. So, I don't know, Jade, if I can help everybody see here. So up here, the 805,000, we're actually gonna change that to 550,000 and, is it 600? Sure, Jade, you can't click on that. So that's what we're gonna change. That's a PDF file, so we can't change it.
Right, so, Ms. Ragland actually sent us the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
With so if they could go to the Excel spreadsheet, then we could actually make those adjustments and you could see exactly what we're talking about.
Great. Do you have access to that? I don't know if you have access to that.
They will in a minute.
They want to show them to you. Okay. So if you want to, can you scroll down towards the bottom so we can see down here? I can explain this down here. So what we're doing here is we're putting in here what we believe it costs to produce a nursing program. So again, instruction, 349,000. This is for our 3 faculty, our adjuncts, all the instruction that's happening, 349,983. In conjunction with that, we have fringe. So we also have to figure in our fringe. So down here, you'll see where it says fringe benefits is 134,000 for these salaries, okay? And then you've got your work study, which I took off, and then we have travel and conferences. Now, our students have to travel to Amarillo, and they've got long distances, Albuquerque, Amarillo, and such. And so for us, we're asking for financing that would allow our students to travel. And here's student clinical travel. So you got travel and conferences, which are for ongoing education for our faculty. And then the 20,000 is for student clinical travel, so they can travel throughout the year, throughout their time here for 2 years to get their clinicals done. So that's what that 20,000 is from, and that's what that travel is for. The fringe benefit, support staff salaries, which is a part-time person to help the director of nursing as well as the faculty, who is basically, essentially a secretary who helps with filing, keeping track of student records, and those kinds of things for the College of Nursing. So that's that individual. So that's how we came to that total that we're requesting.
One, and I can't remember, that 2 million endowment, was that specifically supposed to target salaries, or was it just to support the nursing program?
I
Do you
think it
remember?
was just to support to get us off the ground.
Okay. So it wouldn't matter what we pulled off,
Right.
okay. Yeah, I just now thought of that, but.
Okay. So yeah, so like I said, if we go up, scroll up here, the endowments up top here, and it's 80,000, we'll take it. We'll put that in to show that that's what we're getting currently. That's all the financing that we're getting. We did initially get the 700,000, but that was buying equipment and setting up the nursing program itself.
So if you put in that 800,000 for endowment,
80,000.
80,000,
Yes, sir.
but you put it under,
Right across here.
right, but you put it under 2025,
Right, because that's what we'll receive in 25. And then we're looking for, so this is requesting for 26, year 26.
What is her?
so it when I do that, it just shows a change of the 80,000 negative.
It's just deducting it from,
Right.
like, so it's showing them, so when they're reviewing this, they're looking and saying, oh, so they're getting 80,000 currently in funding. And so that just lets them know, because that's gonna come down here, 80,000, right? Is this where that 80,000 shows up, the negative, or no, scroll, sorry.
It shows it in the middle.
Yeah,
But mine also shows, that puts $80,000 in the beginning fund balance at the top of the change, and then in 26.
up here, right?
Right.
Right, because then the beginning fund balance is showing, this is how much we have to begin with. That's not coming out of our general fund, general
Right.
ledger. And so then that's, again, helps them to understand, they've got this much already, this is what we need to supplement them with, or they're proposing that they want to be supplemented.
Now, when you look at RPSP, and it's hard to tell because several of those schools have had programs for a number of years. But some of them, their RPSPs are lower than that 500 and some thousand. So, anything we get is definitely gonna help. But, can we expect to get the full 550,000? I would highly doubt it. But, we wanna show what we're expending for the program and to get as much as we can in a sense.
Well, and I will add, doing research on this, UNM Valencia, which has a comparable, they're a little bit bigger than us, of course, with UNM, but Valencia, they had requested over 500,000 in funding, and they were actually requesting another 500,000, and so they showed that they carried over 500,000 from the year before that was granted to them through RPSP, and they were requesting another 500,000 on top of what they already received. So, again, I'm just kind of going off numbers of what I saw from them as well to see what's realistic and making requests, but potentially. So, those are the numbers. I don't know, how do y'all feel about those numbers? And we'll get a better look here in a second hopefully when they open it up, but.
Yeah, what did it actually cost us to run the program this year? Or?
So we did a little tweaking to the budget, for the Board of Nursing visit next week, which I was gonna mention as well. And let me pull it up, it's 500 and some thousand.
It should be pretty close, because what I base these numbers off of is what we're currently paying our faculty and
Yeah.
what we're currently spending.
So this funding we have to request every year, and this doesn't come from HED, or does this come from HED also? But not, these programs, we have to request separate every year from HED to get these funded.
Yes, yeah, every year we have to, so as an example, those first two that I showed earlier with the rodeo and wind. So every single year, we put the request on there, because we want to continue to get that, but it's a recurring, right? And we need it. I mean, that's how we put on the rodeos, and there's a reason why they had given it to us, and they continue to give it to us. But once we receive that, then we would do the same. We would put that in again next year. I mean, if we got it, then our next request, we would then continue to request the same amount each year to continue to get that funding.
And so some of them you're requesting funds for reoccurring, but then the expansion is the new programs under those
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
categories.
Yeah, and if you go into RSBC, the nursing at the bottom tab down here,
Uh-huh.
I believe scroll up a little bit. It will show us it asks if it's recurring or if it's a new program, and I identify it as a new or as a
Expansion funds.
right expansion, right. So there's a classification that we have numerically for nurse expansion, so that they know the category that we're requesting it for.
So currently, the estimate for this year's nursing program cost is $552,440. That might be a little high, but it's that's what we submitted to the Board of Nursing. And with the nursing endowment, we're looking at around, $467,440 coming out of our general fund, to support that program.
Well, on that nursing, where it talks about, the justification, it really looks good where they
The objectives,
Right.
or no,
so
back to
that where it's under the first one,
scroll up.
just the nursing, not the budget right there.
The
This one here.
description.
And so this is why I like an Excel instead of the PDF, because in the PDF you just see a portion of what's actually written.
Can you click in the first top box?
Right. If you have Excel,
Just click once.
that's the PDF one. If you have the Excel, then it expands it where you can read all of it. Right there.
you go.
I really like that. They really went into a lot of detail for justification, and it looks great.
Thank you. and Joel as well. We wrote that together
All right.
to get that together. Now the nursing we did I think we did well on. So that's nursing. We can read through those if you want to, but I think those are really, like you said, they're well done as far as the explanations.
Right.
The big question I have for nursing is if we go back to the nursing budget.
Uh-huh.
Again, is that we'll change this number, the top number here, to 550,000. I think it's 600, 550,600. And you can verify by scrolling down and looking at the bottom number down here. Scroll down to there it is, 550,620. So 550,620 is what we want to put up there because that's what we're going to be asking.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
And then we want to put under endowment across here, it's going to be 80,000. I think it's that box there.
And probably put that in the budget column too for 26. And this yellow on the far right.
Oh, right. That's what you're saying. So you put it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jane, go ahead.
Yeah.
Right there?
80,000.
80,000?
Yes. And you click out here. Just go ahead and click it and scroll up. So it's going to show us. So it shows the 80,000 here.
Right.
550,000. Then scroll down. 80,000. So what it ends up being, you can see 630,620. You keep scrolling down. Cause that's including that 80,000, so. 6,000, so how do we get, can you just click on this once to see what the formula is? Which is the 163650 minus 68. That's not gonna help me. Okay, can you scroll up? See, scroll up. 58. Okay. So I'm just trying to see where the 120,000. Did you see that? That it changed the 120,000 at the bottom?
Right.
80,000. 50. That's right. Keep scrolling up. This one. Keep going. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing. Do you know why this is 160,000, Mr. Primrose, per chance, looking at your anyone?
That's just showing the ending balance, right? You started out with
Yeah, but
80.
and then you have
ended up
80.
160.
My spreadsheet, I don't know, there's something, mine shows 159.9, I'm 20, there's $20 different someplace, but other than that, but it's the same. It's just your cash balance, you know, you're getting 80,000 and from endowment this year, 80,000 from endowment next year, so that's 160.
Thank you. That's what I promise I did some math in college. All right. I hate spreadsheets. I'm terrible at these. Okay. So, what do we think about this on these numbers?
It looks good to me.
Sounds good.
Said the nursing is.
That's, fund balance should be 120, you're saying?
No, so 160 because you've got the 80,000 from 25, and then it carried over into the new year, and then we're going to have another 80,000. So I guess here's what I'm concerned about is we're going to spend that 80,000, so it's not going to be available for the new year. So it won't be 160,000 that we have to draw from. It's only going to be 80,000. So I think if we take off, scroll up. I think we need to take that one off because we're going to have 80,000 though, but. What did I miss?
Well,
We have to
it
spend it
did-
somewhere.
You need to put 80,000 in the expenses because you're gonna spend it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where it is.
So I have to show it. I have to show it being spent down
You're
here
showing it in
somewhere.
income twice,
Can you
but
scroll?
you're not showing it
So it-
expensing anything out.
If you
Yeah,
show
down
that,
here.
if you're gonna show you've got 80,000 for this year and 80,000 for next year, then that's the 100.
And you
60,
wouldn't have the 80,000 in the fund balance up at the top.
That's,
Right. So scroll up. What I'm wondering is, what I need to do is, since we're going off numbers for this year, I need to put in here the expenses, right, for this year. So that will where that 60,000 going to come out of,
Right.
or the 80,000. Excuse me, 80,000.
80,000.
Right, so then we show that, so these numbers really need to be over here too, which then will subtract out, and it'll be a negative, of course. And
I think we had the numbers that we want to ask for down, and maybe a call, maybe we just need to call like Ricardo Rail with HED and make sure we have the numbers in the right place.
Right.
But I think we have the numbers that we want to ask for,
Okay.
right?
550,000.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll follow up with him then and make sure that we got the numbers in the right spot before we get it submitted. Okay, so the next one we need to move to is wind. If we can go ahead and go to wind at the bottom tabs. Oh, Joel, you had your hand up.
You know, I just wanted to point out that when we do defend this during our HED hearing, there's some areas where we're very unique, and one of them that stands out to me is that student clinical travel. Our students, to just get here in some cases, have to travel extreme distances, maybe an hour plus. So just to get here, then to go out for the clinical for the day, and they might have to stay overnight at BSA in Amarillo, other locations, so as we prepare, after we have the numbers, Josh and me are gonna, I guess we're gonna quiz each other and create note cards, because we wanna be able to show that we're making this work right now, we're very unique, and this is what we're gonna need to do to get, for our students to get the most out of this program, so it's not a stress or burden.
Do the students get reimbursed for their travel over here too? Or just from here to their clinicals?
At this point, there's
They don't get
no
reimbursed at all.
reimbursement.
Oh, no reimbursement, okay,
And-
So,
but that,
And when they do travel for clinicals, they take a vehicle from the school to keep costs down.
Okay.
So they take one of our vehicles and they travel together, and they have their shifts already worked out for where they're gonna be, when they're gonna be there. So that way they carpool together to keep our costs
right.
down. But this is great practice, because this is what I'm gonna be doing for HED. So, okay, so our wind program, 596,000 is what, at 800, is what we're gonna be asking for RPSP for wind expansion. Now, if you'll go to the budget, where does that work out? So you scroll down. Here we go, okay. So just like nursing, we have all the areas that we need to fund in order for an expansion. So director salary, technician, staff hybrid, which that's Terrell's position currently, I believe. Faculty salary for an added faculty member, then a work study to work it. Support staff salaries, again, we talked about the secretary and handling, records and students as they're coming in and helping to move everyone through. Fringe benefits for these salaries up here is where this comes in. Then you have the education sites. So our education sites, we do have dual programs that work with wind. We have students that come on campus and climb the tower for their safety certification. And then we have support charges, so anything that might support. And then maintenance supplies, which again is for the help with the turbine, but also with traveling, because we'd like to have a mobile training trailer. So what we're asking for here is the ability to go to those dual locations and have all of the hydraulics, the electrical, everything inside the trailer set up, so that students then could have, it's a mobile classroom. So we can set up at the dual locations, and they can actually go in, which would then allow us to provide more certifications and certificates for their education. So it's not just, right now we have, one certificate or that they're working with in dual.
Right, we've just got a general, one semester certificate that's around 16 credit hours with a climb. So this would allow us to take that mobile, whether it's an electric jig trailer that has different types of electrical components, or a hydraulic, I think it's called a hydraulic bus trailer, and there's hydraulic ramps where the students can get hands-on, and we can get out of this mobile, out of this the Moodle or the online instruction, and make it more hands-on. So that's one of the goals, and also to add to this is it would allow us to take some of the trailer to correctional sites.
Yes.
And work with those students out there.
Oh, that's very important. I forgot to mention that. Sorry about that. Yeah, the correctional sites. So the correctional facilities are very excited about the opportunity that their lower security personnel could actually be able to participate in something like this. As well as an opportunity we're working on currently that they can climb the tower and get certified that way as well. So more opportunities for them, so when they come back out, they'll have training and certification to re-enter the workforce and get a job right away. Same thing with dual students. So that's the thinking behind this funding request and what we want to accomplish with it and how it's going to fund that. So we're asking for $596,800 for expanding the WIN program.
That looks good.
Anybody else? Everybody feel good about that number?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the challenge on wind here, if we want to go to the next one here, wind. So what we have to do on these also, and this is the number that Mr. Primrose, we were talking about, needs to be changed here, the 219.
Right.
That needs to be changed to the current ask. not the original wind. But we're looking at, these are objectives. So what do we want to accomplish? What do we currently have in 24? What do we want to get in 25? And what do we expect to get in 26? And so what I've used is stuff from the past, but as we're moving forward, we're wanting to have, I think we need to make some changes to those requests. I feel good about the nursing, but this wind one, Jade, if you just click in the top one here, we'll start there. I think that's basically it. So 5 renewable energy majors per year. We currently have 15 associate applied science renewable energy majors. So this was last year. We had 15 students who were currently majoring in renewables. And so what we were anticipating is that we wanted to increase that to, let's see, actuals should have been in 24. We have 15 right now in actuals. I don't know, Jake, can you switch that to 15?
What we had in 23, 24.
Yes.
Okay.
This is from Dr. Hackett, our degrees and certificates. At least this is completion, excuse me. That's not how many we had. These are completions, so this may not help us. Because I need to go and look at what our completions are, or what our current enrollment is on that number. So, but this gives you an idea of what our goal is. So say we have 15, we want to increase it by 5. So it would be 20 for 25, and then 25 for 26. And so we fill those in. And again, we just have comments to demonstrate the consistent improvement. What are we doing to accomplish that? What are we doing to make that happen? And so that's an explanation that I would fill in there for that. Jake, could you click on this one here, please? So, again, increase the number of occupational certificates for renewable energy by 5 students per year. We currently have 14 students with occupational certificates in renewable energy. So, admit 5 renewable. We have 15 associate applied science renewable. So, occupational certificates is different than the applied science degree. The applied science is a 2-year. The occupational certificate is 1 semester. So we had 14 at that time. So again, working on those. Those are good. Increase the number of dual credit sites for renewable energy course. Here, can you click on this one?
That's it.
Okay, that's it. So that one's a little bit, I want to change that, I think, because how many dual credit sites can we, again, with the trailer we could increase the sites, but we're already serving, I believe, 2 or 3 sites, Joel. Do you know how many?
3 schools.
3 schools currently. And so they send students that actually climb the turbine, and then we do training in dual that's occupational certificates for them. So if we want to increase that, we can increase that by, I would say, 1 or 2. 1 is probably more realistic each year rather than 2, only because of the process we have to go through with MOUs and getting that relationship established. But again, we want to see growth in that area. So, Jade, if you just click there, this one here.
That's it.
I'm thinking to change it to 1 per year.
To 1.
Yeah, just go backspace 1. Okay, so the next one is provide course delivery options for correction students, which again, that's going to happen because of what we do here. Currently, we have correctional students. We don't have them though in like a WIN program, do we, Joel? Not yet, no. So not yet. So that's what we're working towards, and we anticipate having that. So again, that's something that we're working towards. I'm going to probably rework the wording on that to verify that. Then we have increased number of energy graduates who are employed in New Mexico by 5 per year. The Renewable Energy Program partners with wind farms across the country. Past relationships provided students with employment pathways as far as Canada, Argentina. Our current focus is to support the demands for wind technicians in New Mexico. To do so, we need the resources, faculty, and staff to make that need connections, regional wind farms to ensure that our students have internship opportunities in future pipelines. Thoughts on that? Okay. So I'll work on the numbers to fill in here on that. And can you go to the objectives, expand the is that where you're at? No. The first one, expand. I think that's where we'll scroll down, please. So this is a lot of work. I don't want to read everything to you, but I've gotten into this one a little bit more, just defining. So the Bureau of Jobs. What is it called? Labor. Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? So last year or 2 years ago it was 40% increase over 10 years. I think it was in 22. So in 32, they're expecting 40% increase in wind. Now they just put out this last month, it's going to be over 60% increase in the job market. And actually, wind energy is going to be leading the fastest growing and the most needed area in the industry. Second is going to be healthcare, right behind it. Healthcare is going to be growing by 40%. So these are areas that we want to focus on in healthcare and wind. And so I highlight that in this as well, and I cite that material also. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so the next one, if we can go on down to CDL, this is the last one, I promise. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. So CDL, let's go straight to the budget, please. Yeah. Okay, $401,100. We know that we can't ask for equipment, so we can't ask for a truck, but we can ask for everything that has to do with a truck. So there's an opportunity for us to get a truck, what we would do to be able to expand this program. So currently, we provide testing and workforce, and our testing last year, we had 104 who went through our testing. So we provide the facility, we provide the instructor, and we provide the opportunity for the testing. The testing is, of course, state, but we have that opportunity for them, and we put 104 students through that. So to expand that, it would be great to have a truck, which would take an investment on our part from our general fund. But outside of that, this is what it would cost to run a program for CDL. If that makes sense. Again, we go to faculty salary, workforce coordinator. Now, CDL, of course, is workforce. That's why we need a workforce coordinator, because this is not going to be a 4-credit opportunity. Site manager, maintenance tech, adjunct instructor support, and then the fringe benefits for those salaries, fuel in-class drive time. So again, while they're driving for training, and the fuel that we'll need, and then maintenance and tools, and then classroom equipment. All of those things are what we will need for. But thoughts on this? Is there anything we can subtract? Anything that do we need to lower this? My first thought is the classroom equipment at $150,000. So we've already got maintenance. Maintenance and tools. We've got $36,000. So classroom equipment would be, I don't know what, Joel, would it be anything?
Well, here's a vision. In the old days, we had auto body, we had diesel repair in the big silversmithing building C, where they could actually pull a truck in, actually go through the inspection from the top deck in there, which it has a top deck, and they had all sorts of wonderful tools to support that. Bless you.
Bless you.
And
Thank you.
I think in terms of if we needed to break down the actual equipment needed, well, they're gonna have to have equipment to service out the tires, go through that process. And I would, we can get into specifics, but that's something I think they're gonna need as part of the full experience once we get in. That's past CDL, that's more of the getting into the degree, if we go down to a degree option, but
Maintain equipment and maintaining trucks. So
we're gonna have to maintain the truck either way.
Would you need that much for tools the second year? Or do you need to replace the tools every year, or couldn't you?
So we wouldn't have to replace the tools every year, so that's not necessary. It would be building on the tools. Maintenance itself, greasers, grease guns, TIG welders. I don't know if that's, I didn't price these things out, I guess, individually, but we gave a rough estimate. But
Well, just the tools to maintain and do a competent oil change in shop. If we were gonna take our students through that process on the semi, some things like that. I mean, we're gonna have to have waste disposal tied to that. There's some other areas that we just don't have that built in right now. And I think that's, when we talk about classroom equipment, we should consider that too, because when you generate burn oil, or you gotta drop a pan or something, you're gonna have to hire an agency to come take it off and
Tires.
dispose of it.
And part of this is the initial cost of buying
Right,
the tools.
right.
So that's where it's gonna be expensive, is the first initial. And then the classroom equipment, again, going into the greasing and yeah, you're gonna need all those.
And there's nothing left over from that automotive program years ago, and we're going back maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago. There's just no equipment, there's nothing there. It's been absorbed into the college for maintenance and other things.
Do we, I don't remember any kind of reporting. I know all we get right now is athletics and wind. And I don't have any doubt we more than spend that much money that we get from RPSP. So but I don't know that we do any specific reporting on those activities unless they just look at our report of actuals and identify those amounts. And so there may be some, I guess what I'm trying to say is there may be some wiggle room there if we don't have the numbers exact, like if we spent 50,000 on maintenance and tools and only 140,000 on classroom equipment. Would does that sound too far-fetched or?
Yeah. That's right.
And you know, something else to add, we've got students coming out from Luna, from Las Vegas, from Clovis to test here. So we already have the pipeline, we've got the connections where it's happening here. It's actually, they'll test across the street at Alco there.
The city is desperate, the county, railroad, we've got a lot of people in this area that have that need.
Absolutely. They changed it where you have to go through a certified instructor instead of doing it in-house, so.
Yeah.
You've gotta have,
Clayton has
gotta
it
have some
requested
education.
too, haven't they?
I think so.
I think they.
I think so.
Yeah. And it's important for us to look at this. I want to take a moment too to say that, I think Dr. Moss has said a lot in board meetings, but to take a moment to look at the cost of a program and the expense that a program is going to cost. And something with the nursing program, I can't say that was done. And so when we started funding it, it came out of our general budget. So the general ledger, so it's like money that wasn't designated, there was no extra money from what we were previously doing. So it puts that bigger burden on there. So that's why this is important for us to look through. And I really am excited about the opportunity to share this with you so that you can see even, how this all works and where the money, what it looks like to put a program like this together. And why it takes planning, why we plan and go into all that.
And kind of tag on that, I don't expect us to get 1.8 million or whatever those total up to, but if we get some of that money, that will relieve the budget to where, okay, now what's the next program that we need to really get started? Do we need to put the 200,000 into a truck and get our CDL program going? And then, they may say no on CDL right now or a minimal amount. But if we're able to get to the position where we have a program actually up and running, that might make us eligible they may look at giving us that money easier, I guess.
Well, we don't wanna,
Do what?
What are we gonna do with the old gas station?
That's foundations.
Are they gonna just let it sit there?
Do what?
Are they gonna just let it sit there?
Well, they've had some discussion about that, but I don't know that they really know what to do with it yet, because to utilize it will have, I think they'd have to do some maybe asbestos removal or clean up. The roof is caved in, and you know, to sell it, somebody's how much are they willing to give for something that then they're going to have to spend all that money to clean up? So that last I heard, they're not sure what they're going to do with it. We talked about several months ago we were working with the state environment department on that CPRG 40 grant that was supposed to like put a kind of a transportation hub pathway from California, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma. And I thought I'd pass this on to y'all, but Mr. Primrose didn't think I had, so I probably didn't.
No,
Oh.
charging station.
Huh?
The charging station.
Yeah. And so they did not get the federal grant that they applied for. Now, does that mean it won't come back? Not necessarily, but they'll have to reapply or look at it again. And, what we thought was whether it was, that station is probably too small of a property for that, but, at that time, maybe the Alco property or, something along Route 66 that would be easy access. That's a long answer, but right now they don't know for sure what to do with that property
So
without spending a lot of money to clean up.
if the Alco's building sells, then where will the CDL?
We'll have
test it?
to put a little work, at least a little work into cleanup. We talked. Go ahead. Yeah, I'd rather you talk.
On the other side of the wind turbine, there is a pavement road that used to be the actual CDL paved drive track.
Oh.
And it's gonna take some clearing, it's mesquite and all that brush. But that would be the goal, is to reactivate that location out there. And we can put together some sort of fancy visual for the board later on, but that would be the goal, is to reactivate that site outside.
Did you have something, Mr. Cox?
Well, one of the things that I think is important, you mentioned that we might not get all of it. We want to get enough that if we don't get it all, we can still go through with developing the program. So we need to ask a little bit on the high side, not something that's totally ridiculous, but something that is more actual and something we can work with if we get 2/3 of it or something or another,
That's a great point. And
So if you only get part of it, tools and classroom equipment, how's that going to affect the maintenance tech then?
yeah, so what would happen then is we would start adjusting our, those that work for us, right? So who we hired. So the hires then would be adjusted. The money that would be used for these hires then could be moved down here for where it could be used for tools and maintenance and things like that. And then of course, we would start adjusting and using funds in ways that we could utilize it in a different way. That makes sense.
And some of that's going to depend too on, when we get that started. A new truck is going to be what, 250,000, but it shouldn't require the maintenance for some time. I mean, the repair work that a used one would, and so that's going to determine some of that too. Where can we start with that? So,
Have we looked at asking any of these big trucking firms or anything to donate us a tractor?
a couple, and Kathy Elliott has reached out some. She works for the foundation, and she's contacted a couple. I've gotten a couple names of some others that intend to reach out to talk to. I mean, there's always the potential of some kind of partnership or some kind of I don't know, I hate to use this word, promotional, from them doing that. you know, if they have a used truck that maybe that just sets as a backup or something, you know, it's probably not gonna run, I have no clue on this, but somewhere between 20 and 50,000 maybe. Am I even close?
Yeah.
But if
It
they
just
did
depends
that,
on-
but it'd also be a tax deduction possibly for them, if they were just to donate it, or maybe an extremely cheap lease or something, I don't know, but.
And to give you an example, we've been approached by a couple of individuals on the tax donation where we purchase a certain amount, the remaining is a tax donation. But we'll have to, look at the truck, does it have a sleeper, will it actually support the number of students that we can get in the cab during the drive time training? So that's really the big obstacle here, is we gotta get the right truck and one that doesn't have so much wear and tear on it.
Well, and all these companies are gonna need CDL drivers, CDL drivers. No, maybe they'll help us out, but,
Yeah.
we just, see how much money we get and then go from there, I guess.
So I think it's a great opportunity, and if you feel good about that number, then we can move with that number. I think that is high enough that we can work within it, to get things started.
Looks good.
Even if it's not the full amount, we still have some little in there, so. So those are the three big ones, and again, the description and, our goals. So if you wanna go, I think, to objectives here, you know, moving forward, this one I've not gotten much done on, but again, I'm gonna have to show, here's what our actuals were, because, you know, we did testing, but I have to clarify that we're not teaching drivers or training drivers, but we're testing drivers, and just testing drivers, we're providing 104 per year. So we can show that, and then what kind of growth we wanna see from that, and then what kind of potential do we have for a program? And then I'll go in, of course, to the opportunities that are here locally, but also with the interstate and the highways. Yes.
And to add to that, Josh, we've had an existing history of CDL being successful here in this location, this region. And even the diesel mechanic, we have the infrastructure to support it, we've got the drive range, it's got to be cleared. So we've got the recipe for this to be successful, we just need CDL support.
And we did have a truck, 2 years ago, I think,
Correct.
an individual that had a truck that was driving, so we were training at that time, we had students, so we can show those numbers that we have trained, and that the growth that we can hopefully expect from it. So that'll be what I'll fill in there, but, if y'all feel good about those numbers, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time to listen, and to hear where we're at, and what we're trying to accomplish.
We have lots of, truck stops and lots of trucks that go through.
Sure do, yeah. Absolutely.
Getting to be more all the time.
More every day, yeah.
I think I was reading the assessment that was done for the hospital, cost assessment and analysis, and it was saying that there were 16,000, I think, that came down 40, intersect 40 every day, that we're driving through. So those are numbers that I want to utilize in there as well. So those are big numbers that we can.
Yeah,
Every time I go to Albuquerque, every one of them's on the road.
That's right. They're all 16,000.
Right.
And they're all in your lane. I know.
And I've always heard 65% is commercial,
65%. Wow.
is commercial vehicles.
I'll make a note of that. I'll look that up too and see. 65%.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
The only,
Yeah, I've looked at this trucking outfit back to early days, Richard, out there at the Triple T, you know, and the volume there. Mind staggering.
yeah, in our heyday, we did $1.25 million a month in diesel sales. But
Yeah.
They're,
Now then.
they're doing 3 and 4 million.
Yeah, I remember, you know, at nights, some good nights. I worked on,
Budget. The only thing I'd have suggest is a breakdown of the rodeo budget.
Okay.
Did they ask for that last year?
They didn't.
Okay,
Cause they
They-
put, yeah, they put one number for feed, travel, salary, maintenance, and stock.
okay.
Yeah, I got a little bit lazy on that because they hadn't asked for it last year, but I can break it down.
Yeah.
It's important for us to know it. So
Right, plus I would think the state would wanna know that too.
I would
That's
just-
the only other thing I would,
That should be easy just to pull off our expenditures for last year and break that
Right.
down pretty
the
close.
actuals for a
that
budget.
should. Yes, sir. I'll also put the rodeo in there too because that helps pay for our rodeo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
24,000 for the group that comes in and stuff like that. So,
That's the only other change that I'd request. Is there any other questions of, Josh or Dr. Moss, or not? I'll entertain a motion to approve the, RPSP funds request for next year.
I make a motion that, we approve. Budget.
Okay,
Second. Jimmy second.
got a motion and a second?
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
Mr. Fox,
Yes.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes,
and Mr. Sigler,
Yes.
and the motion carried.
All right. Next is, purchase requisition for HVAC units.
And I was just gonna add, I can't say enough about the work that Joel and Josh, put into that. This is only the second year that any of us have really had much experience with, RPSP. And, last year was really a new thing but it's gonna get easier, so.
Well, again, the narratives look really good. Appreciated in it. Reading the narratives, all of these programs are very justifiable.
Good. Thank you.
So on the HVAC, Mr. Martinez couldn't be here today, but he got three quotes, and I think they're all fairly reliable. Businesses, JQ out of Texaco, which is Clovis. What's the other one? I know I've used them before. Denton out of Clovis, and then
Mechanical.
Fought Mechanical. Basically looking at the same work, replacing the units. I'll try to answer any questions that you can't see from the quotes, but I know Mr. Martinez had said the city has used JQ before, and was see that the work that they did was good. One of the questions I had was how was their service, because there's a difference. Putting something in is only one part of it. It's how do they respond when something doesn't go right with it. But according to him, they had done a good job for the city. I've used Denton and for plumbing and Foughts. They're going to put a HVAC unit in my house hopefully in a couple weeks. So, it's not necessarily a question of who will do a good job, but I think it probably comes down to price on this one.
What's the situation for future repairs and so forth? Having an out of town contractor versus a local contractor, will we save some money on the initial investment and then pay for it later on when it comes to travel time and extra travel time and so forth to come and do repairs and follow up? That would be something there too.
You got to consider that. I mean, just like we're getting a company to come in from Albuquerque to do some upkeep on our fitness center. And I think I think the cost spelled out on that was like $400 or $500 just to come out here. Now, we don't have any local equipment, exercise
For that,
equipment people
right.
here in town, but that is something you have to consider. I know for plumbing, Denton, they charged me like $130 an hour, and that counted from when they left their shop in Clovis till they got back to the shop almost.
So you got 3 hours of
And
travel
you got
time
3
in there,
hours
that,
of travel.
that's $500 bucks.
That's almost $500. And that's not calculated in this, and I'm not familiar with, so in Missouri, the board was expected to go with the best quote.
Right.
And sometimes that meant, if you had bad references or bad experience in the past or travel to get them, you could adjust that. Mr. Primrose probably knows much more about this than I do, but I don't know if New Mexico's similar, or is there more legal reason to go with the cheapest?
I don't know where there's any way you can figure in the maintenance versus the purchase. And I do know that there's, you can allow a certain percent for like New Mexico, but these are all New Mexico.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have in your procurement, you say you give them a certain percentage for local, and see the local is 10% higher than the low bid. So I don't know that it's 10%, but
Of course, you hope they don't have to come out and work on anything for many years, but
Yeah,
so I think we're supposed to go with the low bid if everything is comparable.
They told me to pick whomever you want.
Huh?
They told me to pick whomever you want. They didn't say you have to go with a low bidder.
and we're still going to use. I think it is important to keep track. Like if we go with the JQ, to keep track, obviously, of which units they've put in, or because that's who you want to service it. We have a lot of, I say a lot. We have several units that we're going to need to do work on, and some replacement, and so that might be one reason to go with the cheapest, just to see, do some comparison on are we getting the best deal and stuff like that. Now, like I said, personally, Wayne is doing some work for me, so it's not anything against him, but I know Mr. Martinez felt like that we should go with the JQ quote.
It's a low bid. I think
Is there a difference between the model of the equipment that they're putting in between the bidders? We don't want to go with some off the wall.
High sense. I didn't say that. I don't know the answer to that.
I think it's important to know the quality of the
Yeah.
equipment.
I would like to say that the size of the units we're talking about and the companies that we're talking about, it's going to be a comparable quality, whether it's Train or what are some other
Denton, they say provide and install new carrier, 5 and 12 ton.
yeah.
They're the only ones that really specify which
Which make
it
model.
is, yeah.
it looks like they're basically the same. The same size,
Yeah, same size.
Yeah.
Thought says carrier gas package unit.
didn't say anything about.
Same warranty. So Mr. Martinez made a recommendation to go with, JQ.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Where was that from?
Texaco.
Texaco. I was gonna see what maybe brand they. I don't know.
All three of them's gonna run on the same fuel.
There should be equivalent units.
Yeah.
The size and gas electric. Yeah.
Looks the same to me. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
And before, I just see that JQ has a 5-year warranty on parts.
It's interesting that.
Right, they all do.
Well, and then Fault, they have a 1-year warranty on parts and labor, but a 5-year warranty on compressor.
Right.
So I don't know what the difference there would be. I'm just pointing that out. Need a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion that we, go with JQ on the HVAC.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, roll call please.
Mr. Fox? Mr. Fox?
Oh. I speak a little, yes.
Yes or no?
I said,
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell?
Yes.
And Mr. Sandoval?
Yes.
And the motion passed.
Like I said, we're gonna have more opportunities for this, that HERF money. We've set aside some of it, for these, I wanna say at least 70 or 80,000, I think, for HVAC, and then, also some of the money that Mr. Martinez, that we presented for capital outlay, I think that was some of that, and then BR&R. So we've got several things we need to work on.
All right. Next, our meeting will be September 17th, which is our regular board meeting next week, next Tuesday.
Are we having Constitution lunch? That's on the calendar Tuesday. Do you know anything? Are we doing that again, or?
We are, I'm gonna, give me a moment,
I just thought, but since we're not, we won't have the next board meeting till after that.
okay, yes,
Constitution luncheon.
Yeah.
yes, sorry, I'm looking it up right now, I haven't got the details on that yet, Diane's doing that, she's got flyers up, but I haven't yet.
Fired up this weekend.
Yeah.
Rotary golf.
Rotary
this
golf
weekend.
tournaments this weekend.
It's always a busy weekend. We've had
Yeah.
a busy summer around here.
And I told Mr. Primrose, I may tune in virtually to the board meeting next week. There's a LFC meeting that day with a couple topics that we, regarding that, LFC study on workforce certificates and a NEMIC, quarterly meeting, which is New Mexico Independent College, Community Colleges, but we're also having a joint meeting with the community colleges that are branches of 4-year colleges, and I really think I need to be there in person for those. So
Yeah.
if I don't make it back in time, I'll tune in virtually.
It is a launch September 17th.
Yeah.
from 12 to 1. I'm just gonna get the flyer.
I don't think Mr. Chatfield or Mr. Woods will be here to speak because they should both be at the LFC meeting, but, just some updates before the next meeting because, you guys wouldn't get the report till later this week. So. And we have the Board of Nursing visit coming up next Tuesday and Wednesday too.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping that we met again this morning and I feel like Miss Freeze and her staff, Joel, have done everything that they brought up at the last meeting. I feel like they've really addressed that and I think we'll be good, so.
Mr. Rush is from Logan Municipal Schools, and he's a former New Mexico State Representative, will be the special guest speaker. Lunch will be provided Tuesday the 17th in Great Room, Building A from at 12 o'clock.
So if you guys are able to get away early in the day, be sure to come to that. We had a really good turnout last year on that, so.
That's when, Saturday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep.
A week from today.
Oh, we all.
It's close.
Yeah, I didn't want you.
Yeah, I'll be out by then. And I
What
was
time did
still-
you say?
Noon
Noon?
in the Great Room in Building A.
Any other announcements? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourn. Second, whatever.
We already discussed, we've got a retreat.
Oh, I saw that email.
Do you want me to call
Oh, sure.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Sidwell,
Yes.
Mr. Sandoval,
Yes.
and Mr. Box?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The meeting adjourned at 4:17.
All
Before I
right,
forget too,
now we're legal.
I went out and ahead and reached out to